everyone, and welcome to a special live episode of the Present Poetry Podcast. My name is Erin, and today we will be talking with some of the published poets in this year's Talon Literary Journal. The Talon is Northeastern State University's annual literary journal where they publish poetry, short fiction, art, graphics, and a host of other media from students and alumni alike. So without further ado, please welcome our special guests. Okay. Thank you everybody for joining me. I have Riley, Liam, and Christopher Murphy. And if you guys would like to kind of introduce yourselves, give us your role in the production of the Talon, and then we can get on to the reading portion of it. So who would like to go first? Anyway?
I'll go first.
Okay.
Figure I probably should go first. So I am Chris Murphy. I'm a professor up at NSU, teach creative writing, and I am the faculty who oversees the town, the publication class that puts out the town. So I teach it and I kind of oversee its production, although this class in particular is really, really student led. So I do a lot of overseeing and a lot of kind of like guiding a little bit of the ship. But almost all of the work and the executive decision making, how the town looks and what is included in town, including the poems you will hear today, was decided by the students, two of whom have joined us.
So you are the guru for the class. You give
Guru's a
advice
lofty
where
title.
needed and
Yeah.
guide them along. Well, excellent. Liam, how about you? What is your relationship to the Talon?
So I'm the head of the Talon's like media and marketing department. So I reach out to folks like yourself who would potentially want to work with us. I reach out to locations for our like launch events and open mic nights, just like we had last night. And I also respond to a lot of emails and oversee all of the social media. This year, unfortunately, we kind of only had one person in media marketing. I say unfortunately, I mean, what's cool is I got to see all of it, and so that's been really fun. But yeah, I've also been featured in the Talon a couple of times in some different issues. So I'm also a contributor. But yeah.
Okay, very nice. And last but not least, Riley, where are you
So
and what is your role?
my name is Riley Holman, and I'm a first year publication student. I'm a creative writing major. And this year I was one of two people on the editorial team. And we had our record number of submissions, which was about 400. So we sorted through all those and made our decisions whether or not we were going to, accept or reject them from the Talon. And then we did just some light editing and communication with the authors to get them up to publication standard. And now we have handed it off to Layout, who are going to lay out the Talon for this year. I was also featured in the Talon last year, which got me very interested in working on it now.
Mm-hmm. It always helps to be a part of it from different angles because, back when I was part of the Talon publishing team, I also had poems in there. So it was interesting to see where my poems fell in the arrangement and the overall cohesiveness of the poem. It was fun to see my stuff interspersed in there with so many other talented authors. So, and from what I understand, it's the same today. So is like the people who work on the Talon are also people who are in the Talon. So they get to see their work from start to finish being produced and published in this literary magazine. So, which is amazing. And I think everyone needs to have that kind of experience at least once, especially poets. Like I know the Talon also does stories and art and graphics. Is that correct?
Yeah, we had a ton of amazing visual art this year. I think it's like half and half with our written submissions. So it's a lot of beautiful art this year.
Okay, excellent. They say, a picture is worth 1,000 words, so it makes sense to add a couple of pictures into a literary magazine. So, and I think it gives it a little bit of extra spice. Well, that's awesome. Is there anything that you would like to say about your experience with the process of producing the Talon, and how difficult was it to select the poems that were included this year?
It was very difficult, especially because it was me and Shelby, the other person on editorials, first time doing anything like this. And so when we got that, big influx of submissions, we were a little bit overwhelmed at first, just trying to give them all a first read over and then, second read overs, and just really try to figure out our feelings and put them into words on each of the pieces. And, making that final calls, it was just difficult because I knew I would have to send out the rejections to the people we didn't accept. And, everyone's so talented. And so it was just really a matter of taste this year, I think. We tried to keep it pretty selective, just pieces we felt really passionate about. And so we're really proud of our selection this year and just excited for people to read it.
Okay. Is there any kind of a central theme this year, or like you said, is it just based on feeling?
So for our high school submissions, our regional high schoolers, we had the theme of fear. And so that led to, some great high school angsty pieces. And so that criteria made it a little bit easier to, is this on theme or is this not on theme, which gave us a little bit more of a guideline for those submissions. And then for general, it was pretty much a free-for-all. And me and Shelby would just talk through each of the pieces and figure out what we did like and maybe what wasn't working as well, and whether the pros outweighed the cons. And yeah, just talking it through, just giving them each thorough read overs, I think was all we could really do for the general ones.
Okay. That makes sense too. Liam, you said you were part of the social media experience. What was it like just in advertising for the Talon and trying to draw people in to submit? I know she said that you had a record number of submissions this year. Was it difficult to kind of bring those people in, or what was your experience with that?
So for me, I think what's really helped me just in my experience with advertising, specifically for the Talon, is I got to do it last year. I mean, if some people get the opportunity to work for the Talon twice, and I'm one of those people, and so I've gotten to have my experience last year and then kind of see ways I can improve upon it. And so I think for this year, I kind of started noticing like we get a really good pull of like obviously students within like the creative arts, the creative writing scene at NSU, but I really wanted to expand just like our like how people see us and like expand our just our overall like views and likes on the page as well. Not that it's all about publicity, but I just wanted more people to learn about us like on a larger scale more than just like the creative writing and English departments at NSU. So what I kind of did was I started like looking up advice online and stuff like that. But I honestly what I started doing is just like contacting like more other journals kind of in the area. I started like following pages, like smaller literary journals to kind of get like mutual like likes. And I think that kind of helped to kind of get the word out, especially in the area. And also I started just like talking to more people about it, like one-on-one. I talked to like friends who I knew were writers who had thought about submitting to the Talon. Um, and just kind of just word of mouth, I think really helped. But I think the big thing too this year is like since we had the high school theme, I think part of the reason why we had such a record number is definitely because of the high school selection, which was like Riley said, basically 50-50. No, sorry, that's an act. Well, with the overall submissions, it was 50-50. And the way that worked is I just emailed every single school in northeastern Oklahoma, every single high school, which I had kind of did that last year because we did try to get a high school. We did have a high school section last year, but I don't think I did it as extensively. This year, I really hammered it in from the beginning. As soon as we knew the theme, I was emailing like English teachers, I was looking up staff directories, and I was calling like secretaries. I think it really obviously like we had a record number, and to me that just shows like on one hand like if I actually put in the work, like it would help. But also, like the coolest part to me, again, is just the fact that we're actually reaching out to these local students and giving them an opportunity. And so to me, it's like that's the cool part. The cool part is we had so many people engaged and interested, and I think it shows like editorial picked amazing pieces for the high school and general submissions or selections. And so I really think like it shows, and it shows that people in our area are great writers. But I think overall the social media experience has been there's been a huge learning curve for me. I like when I first started making posts, they were like one page, and now they're like a little extravagant. I'll have like six like images, and I try to have like a theme every time I make a post. Like yesterday's theme was like like vaguely sun because the one on Tuesday was moon. So I try to like have little images in each of them and kind of have cohesiveness. I think people notice it. I don't know. I do. And so for me, that's just been kind of fun to try and like up our social media game to get more people interested because even if they're not from NSU, um, they can still interact with the journal. They can still see what writers we have. Because there's a lot of creativity and a lot of like amazing artists in our area and in our university. So I don't know. For me, it's like every time I work on the social media side, I really just try to think about that and how can I help promote those voices. But yeah.
That's fantastic. And definitely you're going to leave some big shoes whenever you eventually do move on from the Talon marketing. And hopefully the knowledge that you have generated and gathered for yourself will help quite a bit because marketing is like 90% of the work nowadays if you're trying to get anything published. So having that knowledge and that creativity will help quite a bit.
Liam, I like that one of your theme was vaguely sun. There's
Vaguely
something very
so.
poetical about that. It's vaguely sun.
Well, so like 2 weeks ago, like I started noticing like a while back, like I think one of the posts, we were doing like a spotlight on an artist who he, I can't forget his, I forgot his name at the moment, but he writes the comic The Cephalopods. Um,
I think I know
he's
what
been
you're talking
featured. Yeah, no, I feel bad. I should know his name. But um, I feel terrible. This would be a perfect time to plug him. Oh my gosh. Uh, I will try to remember. But because this whole theme is like aquatic, I was like, okay, the whole post is gonna be water. And so since then I've been trying to do that. So like a couple weeks ago it was acorns. So every image had an acorn. Canva is like my best friend. So
about.
like
Oh,
they're pretty vague, but then like I try to be whimsical, but I hope people start noticing. I don't know. I even if I'm the only one who notices, I'm okay with that. It's fun.
yeah. Hey, as long as you're having fun, that's what's important. So, well, that's amazing. And I guess for my last question, Murphy, how do you feel this year's talent is progressing? Like we've had a ton of submissions. They said that the marketing's on point. They have a great selection this year. Are you pleased with how it's turning out as the head honcho of the Talon?
Yeah, I'm super pleased. Every year is it almost kind of mimics like teaching at large, or like the movements of the semester at large, and that every year is roughly the same, and yet every year is distinctly different. So like in the larger movement, everything is the same, right? So like at this point in the semester, it's always super stressful because we're like at the tail end and everyone is gassed and like media marketing has been like getting the word out, getting the word out, getting the word out, and event planning and doing all this. And like editorial has just gotten through a massive raft of submissions, and layout is like furiously working. And we're like crossing our fingers and hoping that Amazon doesn't be a pain in the butt. And we want to get issues in hand, and and it's similar to the larger feeling at the university where everyone's just kind of gassed right now. It's
Mm-hmm.
we're always in this point in November. And so for this point in November, I feel great. Like everyone has done the work and everyone has done above and beyond the work, and we're in good position to kind of have these things in hand. And then there's like certain joys too that like yesterday we had the cover reveal, and every semester like seeing what the cover is going to look like is such like a joy. It's like, oh man, this is it. This is what our issue is going to look like. Um, and we do what's known as sequencing, which you talked a little bit about before, saying where your poems fit in order. So we'll sit as a class and kind of decide like, okay, what's going to go after this? What's going to happen? What's the feeling of here? Like, how are we going to group this? Are we going to have like some sort of like larger order? Are we going to do it by feeling? Are we going to have like larger kind of clusters? Um, and so like this always happens, and it's always fun and always stressful. But this year, I think there's some like distinct elements. The submissions is a huge one, right? The fact that we had so many, which is a testament to Liam's work in media marketing, getting the word out. And then something that's like a lot of these lessons, you kind of, if you're a writer, you only know from the one side, and it's really good to get these lessons from the other side. So, you said it about like it's good for poets to kind of have this experience. And I think it's good for writers in general, for artists in general, to be on this side too, because you recognize if you are as a writer submitting work all the time, getting rejections all the time, it's good to kind of see the other side and see how subjective it can be, how difficult it can be to get something published, and how hard the work is in choosing things to go in. So one of the distinctions of this year was that Riley and Shelby were as a very small group. This is the smallest class we've ever had. So the largest amount of submissions, the smallest class. And Shelby and Riley did the really hard work of holding their critical line and essentially not going, well, we've got 400, so we'll take about half because we can argue ourselves into liking so many of these pieces. They were really rigid and really selective in what got in, and that's really hard work when you're looking in that sort of volume, and there's so many pieces that are good, so many of the calls are subjective. So this issue is different in that regard too, in that not only do we get the most submissions, but also it was as hard as it's ever been to get into the town. And then like Leia doing the work and like, the cover reveal and being like, every issue is its own thing. And I really love that about the town. Like you look at other literary journals and there's a lot of through line from issue to issue. The covers look, formatted roughly the same, and the pieces have a certain tone. And that's a good thing, right? It's like that journal has a voice. But one of the necessary aspects of the Talon is that every issue is different because every issue is composed of a different set of folks making it. And they take ownership of it. The students take ownership of what it looks like. So like this particular issue is unlike any issue we've ever had before. And so watching it come together and going, man, this issue is going to be gorgeous. This issue is going to be striking. Oh, the work is so good in this issue. Even though I've done this iteration many times, every time it's fresh. And so this time it's just like the details are really thrilling. And like the thrill of like seeing this individual distinct book that was put together by this small group of folks doing such hard work is really unique and very, very exciting. I can't wait to see it.
It is very exciting. It sounds like it. And I would love to hear some of the poems that you guys have picked to represent the Talon in this episode. So do you all have some that you want to pick, or Riley, is it just you that have some? Like, because I know you said you had a couple that you picked to read to represent the Talon.
I believe we all have 3 that we have selected.
Okay. All right. Well, whoever would like to take it away, whenever you're ready. Okay, Murphy, how about you? You're the spearhead of this. Why don't you go ahead and get us started?
So my batch is the high schoolers.
High schoolers, okay.
Yeah, and so these are all on the theme of fear. And Liam alluded to this too, that so they have a distinct tone, a lot of them, right? And we wanted a theme that was like largely interpretive, but that had a kind of unity to it. And also something that we felt like high schoolers who tend to have a really distinct voice, right? They tend to be Their emotions were really palpable, really felt, right? And there's a lot of kind of freshness to the discovery of writing for them.
They definitely have a different viewpoint on things.
Mhm, mhm. Yeah, like I was putting the bios together last night, and like the we put it at the end of the issue, and their bios are just absolutely delightful. Like
Mhm.
like tons of them love to crochet. I don't know what's going on, but they're all about the crocheting.
It's big now. Like
Yeah,
it's
I guess so.
definitely taken off.
um, so I'm gonna read three of them, and these three do kind of fall under the theme fear.
Okay. One thing I would ask is that you give the author. So like a title, author, and then poem. That way we know who's coming from where.
Yeah, I will do so. So this first one is Infested by Lily Miller. Infested. I would be a good study for entomologists. The bees that buzz in my head surely are all different. The buzzing is louder in some places, and the fuzzy feeling is smaller in others. The spiders in my stomach have eaten all the butterflies. They spin their webs and crawl around, leaving me nauseous and gross feeling. Maybe the spiders are all different too. I could get some money from this bug-infested body. The worms under my skin writhe, but no one can see. If I dig my nails in, the worms disappear for a moment. Then they return. Maybe the worms are also different, fuzzy and invisible, covered by the scarlet liquid from my arms, but they wriggle all the same. All right. The next poem is Trapped in My Bed by Eleanor Manning. Trapped in my bed. Some like their bed, not me. My bed holds me, never lets me free. I scream, I yell, but still I am trapped. My sheets like a mummy keep me wrapped. I cannot take a breath. My bed is suffocating me to death. Exhaustion like a weight. Frustration turns to hate. I hate my bed. I hate my bed. Although I lay here, I never sleep. I'm sinking in the memory, foam too deep. I've been here days lost in plight, like a zombie, rely on my screen's blue light. I was getting better, I thought. Is a side effect of Xanax bed rot? And then last, What is Fear by Alayna Nightingale. And we had a few poems that directly referenced the theme. So this one we chose to be kind of representative of those poems that directly reference the theme. So, what is fear? Fear is a fickle thing. It creeps in, it steals your mind before you even know it's there. It whispers in your ear and tells you lies about yourself, about others, until it's all you have left. Then it releases you from its grip, and you realize all that was untrue. You try to get up off the ground, but it left you so weak that you can barely manage to open your eyes. There we go. There are high school poets.
They really took that theme and ran with it. That first one, Infested, that one gave me goosebumps. Like, wow, and these are high schoolers. There's so much potential there. I love it. Riley, would you like to go next?
Absolutely. So this first one I'm going to read is actually by our head of layout, Maddie Barnes. And this is one that I related to a lot, and I just think is kind of a different look at body image than we usually get in any kind of media. So this is called Skin and Bones. The skin of my flesh stretches over my bones, refusing to hide the sharp point of my edges. Jagged, my body moves forward with spite to see another day, a walking skeleton with no meat on its bones. All around me, people sigh, gushing about what it would be like to be my size, a body so skinny that people can know just how many bones my ribs have grown. So this next one is by Laurence Foshee, and he was involved in the Talon for a little bit of time, and we got this lovely poem from him. And there's content advisories for allusions to domestic abuse and trauma. And it's called Unvisited Mentors after John Keats and Elizabeth Bishop. Here lies one whose name was writ in water. Here lies a guy whose name was written in water. Here lies a timeline of a brilliant guy whose name was written in water. Here lies in Facebook feeds an old timeline of a sad guy whose name was written in water. Here lies our nose, marring a face, fed on old books or times, like coke lines by a cocky guy whose name was written in water. Here lies a scar on an arm by a nose, propping a drowsy face, buried in books and feeds of old times, of choked, drunken tears with a ballsy guy whose name was written in water. Here lies a dish, pit to slash like a scar, in a left arm and mind that knows a dad's doomsday prepper phase becomes bruised kids in closed circuit playtime, fearing a far right Pink Floyd mom issues guy whose name was written in water. Here lies a brush meant to clean a dish in a lazy heap, a sinking score to burst a soapy film of memories known deeply or hardly at all, to polish a phrase fleeing hurt and scrutiny and bedtime, those chessboards of poverty, of a miserly guy whose name was written in water. Here lies through teeth in want of a fist or brush, their medicant won't ditch, lest his dollar heap of scorn, bristle cloying fear, hegemonies unknown, or remembrances between demolish or free, of words to mean more than their dwindle to time and bills, scattering to loud winds, like a guy whose name was written in water. Here lies the roots by the skin of our teeth, of failed loves, gawky and brash, of looping our lines in double Dutch, to outlive hopes for their tangle to skein, or to adorn roads to truth from the inane, the knotted up stanzas left to square or fray when cast out to catch in the sea storm of time, of lightning highs and icy depths, the poor guy whose name was written in water. So that was Laurence. It's wonderful. And this one is by Kathleen Garrison, and she made an appearance at our open mic last night and read all three pieces that she got published in the Talon. And this one is called Advanced Composition. Where to begin? Anywhere, anywhere on Earth, the Virgin Islands, or maybe Gaza or Ukraine, the Great Barrier Reef, melting icebergs, Wall Street or factories, fields or mines, hospital beds or sand dunes. Pick one place, prison or slums, classrooms or trailer parks. Pick one, only one that is meaningful, beautiful, important. Pick one, only one, fun, but not too fun, must be significant. Then searching begins. Pretty rocks, ugly rocks, purple ones, gray, mica ones, fossil ones, picking through stones, marble and meteorite, granite and gold, hematite, lava rock, limestone and slate, sorting through uranium, turquoise, and steel, collecting them, piling them, stacking them on, weighing me down till they crush every limb and cover each skin, smashing my face till I'm unable to breathe. Reach my hand through so I'm moving them, hefting them, heaving them around, rolling them, shaping them in a flawless diagram. Lumpy ones on my right breast, heavy ones on my pelvic bone, sharp ones stabbing, digging in my neck, gravel ones are spilling, filling my mouth. Faster, faster, hurry, scurry. Place the stones in an intricate pattern, bar graph, pie chart, map of constellation or latitude lines. I can't move. I need the perfect alignment. The deadline's coming soon.
Those were fantastic. I can see why they were chosen because they're very imaginative, very visual. I really like that. And last but not least, Liam, do you have some to share?
Yeah, so the first one is actually the one of the poem I had accepted into the Talon. Kind of like was mentioned. some folks in the Talon, if we work specifically in, layout or media marketing, we can submit, which is really an awesome opportunity. And so I wrote this one. This is in Cedar by me, McAlpin. Um, Wrapping bones in cedar, let them burn in ash, clean and white at night, without the weight of flesh. Let them guide you with moonlight's glow to a happier grove where grief doesn't sleep, where death is a story told to children before bed, where they laugh before they lay their tired heads. Let them sleep without the worries of the world, with the bones burning to keep the pool unstirred. So that was the first one. The next one is Gadu by Paden Weavel, which this one's lovely. Of course, so my major is actually Cherokee education. So as soon as I saw that we had a poem that had some Cherokee mentioned, I was like, oh, that's super cool. And it was good too that we had some folks. It wasn't just me who knew the word, but in Cherokee, Gadu means one thing, and there's a word that's similar, but it's spelled exactly the same, but it means something completely different. So it was good that we were kind of able to clarify the pronunciation on that. But yeah, so this is Gadu by Paden Weavel. This drive is familiar. I know every curve and bump. I wonder if the same people live in these same houses. I turn into the neighborhood that once was ours. Memories come flooding back. The house is the same. This the spattering of blue bricks my brother once painted are gone. The trees grandma planted, so pretty and big, no longer stand. Do they use the greenhouse in the backyard? Do they put plants in it? Do they find nuts and bolts in the gravel left behind by Grandpa? I feel the warm arms wrapping tight around, hear the talking, the laughter. See the round wooden kitchen table. Gadu? Grandpa asks me to pass the bread. Is there love here now? It looks cold, unwelcoming. There is no garden, no garage, no us. The house is different. I feel the same sting I always feel. It creeps out, ready to take over. So that was Gadu by Paden Weavel. And next.
Unfortunately, I am running out of time, and I hate to cut it short, but we are down to about 2 minutes.
Okay, yeah.
But before which like I said, I hate to cut it short just because I want to hear that third poem, but unfortunately Zoom has a time limit for my account. But before we get cut off, I wanted to ask just when is the Talon set to come out?
So the plan is that we have it launched in the second week of December, so that we're going to have at the very least a Talon celebration Tuesday, December 10th from 6 to 8 in Tulsa, Broken Arrow, and the location there to TBD, and then Thursday, December 12th in Tahlequah at the Jazz Lab, and that'll be free and open to the public. The last bits are just a little contingent on Amazon and getting through the Amazon process and shipping to us, which they've had some trouble with in the past. So we can't say for certain it will be at those dates, but we are aiming for those dates. And regardless, we will be having readings and talk and kind of celebration of the issues on the 10th and on the 12th.
Okay, excellent. And people can find out more on the Talon Facebook page?
Yep, and Instagram. It'll be available on Amazon. And if anyone has any questions about the Talon, about the class, about anything at all, they can always email me, murphy07@nsuok.edu, or email the Talon staff at thetalon@nsuok.edu.
Excellent. Thank you guys so much for coming and for agreeing to do this live episode. Again, I apologize for having to cut it a little bit short. But I do appreciate you guys, and I will hopefully get my copy of the Talon as soon as it does come out. I will be keeping an eye on it.
Thank you
Thanks
so
so
much
much,
for
Erin.
having
It's
me,
fun.
guys.
Thank you guys. Have a
Thank
good
you.
one.
You too.
The last poem that we did not get to read on video is called From the Dirt by Natalie Parker. Sun, can you hear my plea? This is all the life that was planned for me. Started by crawling but climbed up the trees. Maybe I could catch a hug from the breeze. Treading and trotting, head down in the page. Water spots on the book as they fall from my face. Spitting words from my mouth, but I don't like how they taste. But it's fine, 'cause you wouldn't understand anyway. I know I haven't written to you in so long. Don't know which way to go or just where I belong. Rest in the sky, but I speak to you through a song. I can remember you before I am too far gone. Meticulously handpicking through my words. I want to rip up the page, but I'm fighting the urge. Silence or judgment, I don't know which is worse. When my time comes, I'll write to you from the dirt. Thank you for listening to this week's episode of the Present Poetry Podcast. If you enjoyed the show, feel free to like us, leave a review, or share us on social media. If you are a poet or you know someone who is, we would love to hear from you. You can reach out to us or submit your work through our website, which is www.present-poetry.com. Again, that is www.present-poetry.com. We can't wait to hear from you.